now.
Wow.
So where are you from originally?
I'm from Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin.
And so for the past 10 years, you've been trying to visit one site for every
Well,
president.
I would say probably the last 10 years I've been trying to pick up sites that I had never seen in the past.
Right. So what sites had you seen in the past?
Well, I had been to Eisenhower in Abilene. I'd been to Truman in Independence. I'd been to Washington, Mount Vernon, Monticello with Jefferson, Quincy, Massachusetts with Adams. Coolidge was up in Plymouth, New Hampshire, I think it is. And
Vermont.
Pardon me?
Plymouth, Vermont.
Vermont? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Vermont. And let's see, what else had I done? And then when I go to different parts of the country, I have a sister that lives on the West Coast, so I did the Reagan at Simi Valley, and I did the Nixon at Whittier, and I guess those are the ones in the West. Just trying to think of what. Turn it off for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Those were recent. And then I think maybe 2 years ago when we were going down to Hendersonville in North Carolina to see some friends, we stopped at the Lincoln birthplace. Now, I had been to his home in Springfield, Illinois, but I'd never been to his birthplace in Hodgenville, Kentucky. And we did, let's see, who's in Columbia, South Carolina? Sarah Childs. Laurie, who's the guy in Columbia, South Carolina? He was married to Sarah Childress.
Not Tyler.
Polk.
James K. Polk.
And then we went over to Greenville and saw Andrew Johnson's site.
Okay, so Grover Cleveland is the last presidential site.
This is the last of them.
And after that, you've done them all.
Yes.
So what motivated you to want to visit a site for every president?
Well, I had done some traveling, and then my daughter gave me this commission about 10 years ago. She thought I ought to have something to do, and so she said, she gave me a book, and she said, why don't you go see the rest of the presidential libraries or birthplaces.
So this is what you've been doing in your...
In some cases, I've seen both.
Okay, so this is how you spent your retirement, I assume?
Yeah, somewhat.
What did you do before you...
I was 50 years in the travel business.
Okay.
And I used to do a lot of group tours, and I used to organize them. And so therefore, for example, when the Clinton Library opened in Little Rock, I took a group down there. And at the same time, I did the Truman Library in Independence, Missouri. Coming back from Arizona this past spring, I did the Bush Library in College Station, and I also did the Clinton Birthplace in Hope, Arkansas.
So that's what got you interested in presidential history?
Pardon me?
Is that what got you interested in presidential history?
No, I've always been interested in history. It was, I guess, years ago, I worked in Washington, D.C., and I spent a lot of time down in Virginia. And of course, the first three presidents came from Virginia, and then Adams was the president from Massachusetts. And that got me kind of interested in and I was always interested in the First Ladies, because they had the exhibit at the Smithsonian that had the inaugural gowns of all the First Ladies. And so in the Great Nieces and Nephews, I'm trying to promote something that is related to American history, because today a lot of them have no idea of what especially my great nieces and nephews in California. They have no idea of early history on the East Coast nor in the Midwest.
So what's the most interesting thing that you've encountered at a presidential site?
Well,
Or-
I'd have to say that it's the Reagan Library in Simi Valley, because in the lower level, under the wing of Air Force One, is the bar from a little town in Ireland called Ballyporeen, town where my grandmother was born, and Reagan's ancestors came from a place called Doolas, which is about 10 miles away. And when the O'Farrell pub closed in Ballyporeen, it was purchased by the Reagan Library, and it was taken apart and it was moved to the Reagan Library in Simi Valley. And they use it during the day for soft drinks, etc. And in the evening, if you want to rent the space, then they'll serve alcoholic beverages. And I think that's related to my family, so that's why I'm really interested in that.
How is it related to your family?
My grandmother was born in the town that the bar came from,
Oh, wow.
Ballyporeen, County Tipperary, Ireland.
So now that you've visited a site for every president, what are you going to do now that you've completed this? Are you?
Oh, I'll get another project. It'll probably be something historical. I visited all of the capitals in the United States.
Oh, wow, that's notable.
Except for Bismarck, North Dakota.
When did you visit all the
Cheyenne,
capitals?
Wyoming.
Was
Pardon me?
that?
Well, over the course of years. Over the course of years. I suppose I started when I was about 10, when my parents used to take us on trips, and we'd go west or we'd go east, and we'd look at state capitals, etc. And as I said, Bismarck I've not seen, Cheyenne I've not seen, and Tallahassee I've not seen.
So are you planning to visit a site for Obama?
Well, eventually, if he ever, wherever he does his library, I assume it would be in Hawaii, but I don't know that. And the last Bush,
Right.
his is not completed, but that's in Dallas. And eventually I'll do that, if I live
Okay.
long enough. If I live long enough to
I'm sure you will. What else do I want to ask? So, what's the most recent site that you visited before Cleveland?
Bush in College Station.
In Connecticut? No, in Texas.
In Texas, College
So
Station.
did you
Texas.
drove all the way here from Texas?
No. We wintered in Arizona.
Okay.
And on the way home, I deviated because Texas College Station is not on a direct route going back to Wisconsin. So I deviated via College Station so that I could visit it, and spent the better part of a day there. And then we came north, and I wanted to see the Clinton birthplace, the home.
In Arkansas.
Which is in Hope.
Right.
So that was my most recent. And Cleveland is the last.
And have you met anyone else who's completed this journey?
I have heard of people that are doing this.
But you don't know anyone?
No.
What do your friends think of it?
Well, they probably think I'm off the wall. Because who else would run around the country looking at presidential sites? Many of them have seen some sites, but not all of them. And in my day, in which I organized tours, etc., we used to get this harumph, another historic site. This is true. Because some people are really not interested.
Oh, trust me, I know. Is there anything else that you think should be noted for my study?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to say. The purpose of it is, other than what to gain knowledge on each president, or the site, or their background, or what?
Well, my study focuses more on historic preservation nationwide, and ways in which it relates to U.S. history and presidential history specifically. So I'm wondering if you have anything to say on that subject.
You're not? Is this connected with the Historic Preservation Office in Washington, D.C.?
No.
No.
It's funded by my university.
By your university, okay. Because in the little town where I live, we have a historic site called the Lincoln Tallman Restorations, and it's the only site in the Midwest that remains in which Lincoln spent the night. And when he came to Beloit, there was a college there, Beloit College. It's older than the University of Wisconsin, to deliver an address. Morrison Tallman asked him to come to Janesville, which he did, and addressed the Janesville delegation, and then he spent the night. And then went to church there, the First Congregational Church, and then he made his way back to Springfield. So that somewhat connects one to presidents. And Lincoln, coming out of Wisconsin, Lincoln